And just a minute, boys, I got the feedbox noise. It says the great-grandfather was equipoise.
Fans, and welcome to another edition of Handicapper's Corner, brought to you by the Derby Bar and Grill. I'm Mike Heads, along with Drew Forster. We're going to go through the Monday, October 14th races at Hastings, the closing day on the as we bring down the curtain on the 2013 thoroughbred season in the Greater Vancouver area. It should be a lot of fun, though. We have 8 races. Half of them are stakes races.
Half of them are stakes races, plus, of course, the final leg of the endurance races, the Pacific Customs Brokers Endurance Series. They put together a really good card. Very competitive stakes races. I see one heavy favorite in Ole's Miss. Other than that, they seem to be very wide open.
Let's get into the first race. That is the marathon race that you mentioned. Only 5 of them signed on. 5 of them made the test through the 3 legs of the marathon series. It is a mile and a half. Likely a heavy favorite in number 1, Super Steve, who did win, I thought, very impressively last time. I liked Safe Fabulous to win it. Yeah. Super Steve just simply outran my horse and actually got claimed out of there, and will make her first start for Melanie Walters. So she's got the 1-2 horses that are not going to kill each other like they did last time. So I just envision the pace scenario being probably quite slow, and I think favorable for both Super Steve and Safe Fabulous. That should be your exactor. I put the 2 Roses for Ben in for third, but 1-3 by a mile.
I see it the same way, but I put Safe Fabulous on top because, as you mentioned, it doesn't look like Super Steve's going to go with him. I like the move to Enrique Gonzalez. He's going to have it his own way. I could see him drawing off and playing Catch Me If You Can. Super Steve, obviously, I could see either one of those winning it, but I think they are quite a bit ahead of everybody else. And Roses for Ben looks to be better than Mr. Majestic or Waylon Jack. I got 3, 1, and 2 in the first. On the second, 3-year-olds and up, 4,000. Non-winners of 3, lifetime going 6.5. And I've gone to the 7 horse, Our Last Call. I mentioned in the last show what a good year Rosie Anderson's having. 11 wins out of 20 starts, 55%.
More live horses. Very live one.
Very live. Another one that when he was in the $4,000 level was very tough. Went up to the $7,500 level. That wasn't for him. Drops back into the $4,000 level. Not an overly tough field. I think he's your winner. The second spot, I put Kai's Command out of the Jody Rawson barn. Just got beat a neck by Lucky Molly Minor last time in the same condition. Figures to be in the mix here with a good buyer figure last time. And the third spot, I went with a bit of a flyer here on Nelly's Trick. Claimed by Teddy Hurt last time. Teddy's horses, the horses he's claimed this year, he claimed Funny Face, came back and won. That's where he gets the 1 out of 3 stat. Another horse he claimed, Crew Leader, he did very well with. So when Teddy claims a horse, he does quite well with it. So I put him in the third spot. I got 7, 1, and 4.
Yeah, I agree with the 7 horse, Our Last Call, as well as the company change back down to 4,000. The distance change as well, back to 6.5 furlongs. This horse did run long last time, and I think cutting back to 6.5 is going to help Our Last Call. Definitely your horse to beat. I put the 1, Kai's Command. That's the only one probably that can beat Our Last Call. That was a pretty game effort behind Lucky Molly Minor last time. So it's 7-1 for me, and then it's just somebody. And I ended up with the 3, Breathe It for third. But it's 7-1 or 1-7. But I did go to the 7, Our Last Call to win it. 7-1-3 for me in the second. On to the third race. This is the first of 4 stakes races. This is the fantasy for 2-year-old fillies, going a mile and a 16th. Just got to feel the 7 going to head into the gate, and I think maybe the 2 Miss horses scared everyone away. Ole's Miss and Bluegrass Miss, and even Architecture, who's a very nice filly. But Ole's Miss looked really good in winning that day in the Boulevard Casino. Went wide, and slow fractions were against her. She was last in that field of 5 and just looped the field in 1 going away. Her works have been sensational, and you don't often see babies working 58 and change a couple times, but she has, and she's just looks like a special horse. I think she can run long. She's out of a Malibu Moon mare. A lot of the officers are sprinters, but I just looking at her, she's a big, lanky thing. I think she's a good size for a distance horse, and I like her to win it. I put the 4, Bluegrass Miss, in for second. A nice game win over Fire Beauty and Lady at War. In her maiden score, didn't break well, but was quickly put in the race by Frank Fuentes, and the horse won with authority and was traveling well at the end of the race. I know it's a lot to ask to run long in your second start of your career, but the horse come back to work well. The pedigree is definitely there to run on, so I put her in for second, and I put the 5, Architecture, who looks like the best of the rest, so I went 1, 4, and 5.
I got exactly the same way, Mike. The only thing I'll touch on, as you did, is Ole's Miss. Can she get the distance, being by officer? But as you mentioned, Malibu Moon did have the Kentucky Derby winner this year in Orb, so the distance should the mare side should make up
Yeah.
for maybe what the stud lacks in the distance.
But she's not a little tiny filly. She's
Yeah,
a good,
exactly. She doesn't
lanky,
look
good
like
filly. She looks like a
not
road
built
filly
like a
when
little,
you look at
little
her.
speedy
So,
filly.
yeah.
She's built like a horse that will run on. Bluegrass missed the second spot, Architect in the third spot. I don't have anything to add. Those are your three horses. I do like Always Miss on top. 1, 4, and 5 for me. Same as Mike in the third. On to the fourth. Now the boys' turn. The Ascot Graduation going a mile and 16th for 2-year-old boys. And I went to the 9, Never Better Cause here. Another one, I'm not sure if he'll get the distance, but he definitely runs more. The top two horses, two-year-olds so far this year, have been the 1 and All That It Means and the 9, Never Better Cause. I went with the 9, Never Better Cause, because of those two, he looks like he can maybe get the distance with his running style. He's really come on and been running very well lately. I left an All That It Means off the ticket because I question whether he will get the distance. 6.5 seemed to even be a struggle for him. It seemed like 6 would be a perfect kind of distance for him. The second spot, because I'm looking at horses that can get the distance, I went with Majestic Mark, a very expensive purchase for Nick and Pauline Felicella. I like the, a well-bred little horse that it got a decent distance number. Again, I'm kind of reaching, trying to find a horse that will get the distance here.
It's not easy.
So I went with Majestic Mark. And in the third spot, I put Laguna Bays. 1 start, 1 win. Heat Seeker, who is by Giants Causeway, out of a Dehara mare, another one that looks like he'll get the distance. And even though it was a slow time, I thought his maiden breaking was impressive. I went 9, 3, and 8.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the 4 horse off the top here. I think this horse.
Can see that.
This horse is by Rosberg out of the champion mare Sophie J. The distance is what this horse wants to do, and I just don't think this horse has been helped by 6.5 furlongs. It certainly wasn't helped by 3.5 furlongs first time out.
Yeah.
But did manage to break his maiden. Going 6.5. It wasn't a tough race. It wasn't a particularly fast time.
But it was a nice move.
Yes, but then earned him a shot in the Jack Lemmon Futurity. He was lazy early, got some trouble, managed to run on to be 7th. But I think the extra quarter miles are really going to help this horse. I really like Off the Top. This horse has come back to work a couple more times. This horse, I think, is progressing into a pretty nice horse. He's a big, beautiful horse, like you would expect out of the mare Sophie J. So many of her foals are big, gorgeous-looking individuals. So I just didn't see anything in here that really wanted to go long. Just looking at them all, they all look like sprinters. They're all small horses. They're all eager early. This horse is not. This horse is kind of patient, and I'm going to try Off the Top to win it. I put the 8 horse Laguna Blaze in for second. He's a half to Hope Seeker, or a full to Hope Seeker, who won or was second, pardon me, in the BC Derby and the Sales Stake. I think there's a lot of distance in this pedigree, and as you mentioned, this horse did win impressively and won with something in reserve. This horse is a pretty nice colt, but he's running against some seasoned horses, so you better get some value if you're going to take him. And I put the 3 horse Majestic Mark in for third. I think if anyone gets the distance, it might be him. But I do like Off the Top in here. I know I've left and All That It Means and Never a Better Cause off the ticket, but I don't think either one of them want to run long. And that's my concern in here. So I went 4, 8, and 3 in the Ascot Graduation. In the 5th race, we got some non-winners at 2 Lifetime for 4,000, going 6.5 furlongs. I ended up on the 8 horse Step Up, taking a big class drop. I actually went the 8 and 9, both taking significant drops in class. Step Up for me, for Anita Bolton and Scott Williams. This horse has been running in some obviously considerably tougher races, and this horse has to beat most of these, and if he doesn't win, it might be the 9 Dog that beats him, who's also been running in some tough spots and against a lot better 3-year-olds. And I put the 11 horse 1440 in for third. He's the best of the rest, I think, for me. But I think 8 and 9. I would play 2 horses in here, and 8 and 9, and that would be enough for me. But I went 8, 9, 11.
I agree. Those are the 2 that look like they're head and shoulders above the rest. I got Step Up on top, Dog in second. Excuse me. Same as you. The only place I differed, I went with Extra Moon, ran a good bang-up second, only got beat ahead by Shingan Bolt last time in this condition, so I put him in the third spot. I got 8, 9, and 10. Very nice and symmetrical there.
Yes,
8, 9, and 10 in the 5th. On to the 6th, the Ballerina, our championship race for older mares, going a mile and an 1/8. And I have gone to a horse close to my heart here, number 8, Madeira Park, out of the Dave Forster barn. Was running consistently well in Alberta, always hitting the board. Did have just the 1 win there in allowance race, but came home to Hastings and made no mistake last time. Looked very good, beating many of these going long, and I think it sets her up to be the horse to beat in here again. I got her on top. The second spot, I put the 10 horse, Cry, 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 out of the Rosie Anderson barn. I picked a lot of Rosie's horses this weekend. She's only run this
She's gonna
distance
hate
once.
you if she didn't have a good
Yeah,
race.
exactly. Sorry, Rosie, I could be the bad luck charm to you. But cry. Look at her form this year. 5 starts, 4 wins. She has run this long before, and she was second the time that she did try the distance. So I think she's proven that she can run kind of any distance, and she has a style that will fit, that she can sit comfortably off the pace and make her run down the lane. And in the third spot, I went to the 3 Saturday Night Ride out of the Troy Taylor barn. The connections, of course, are always dangerous here. She led last time. That race was a little discouraging because she got decent fractions, but I don't know who, if anybody, is really going to absolutely pressure this time. If she gets the right fractions, she can be tough down the lane. I went 8, 10, and 3.
Yeah, I agree with the 8-horse Madeira Park. I didn't love her last time, but pretty impressed with the way Ricky Walcott got her in nice position behind a slow pace, and sort of just exploded and won quite comfortably. I put the 11-horse Wanda Woman, who they ran 1, 2. Actually, I picked the 1, 2, 3 finishers in the Delta Colleen.
I know.
But Wanda Woman had no fractions to run at. That was a painfully slow pace, 48, 112 and change. On Derby Day, and Wanda Woman did really good to get as close as she did at the end of that race. If there's just a hint of a little more speed, Wanda Woman's going to be really dangerous.
Yeah, I left her off the ticket, and I feel that was a mistake. She can be very dangerous.
She does have 12 horses. She only had 6 other horses to run against. She's got 11 other horses here. It's a bulky field, and you're going to need to get some luck with a trip. And I put the 3-horse Saturday Night Ride. I don't love any. This is one race I could see anything coming in.
Yeah.
I do not love Madeira Park. I do not love Wanda Woman or Saturday Night Ride,
Yeah.
but they did run 1, 2, 3 last time. I can see a lot of horses. Cry, as you mentioned. Turlani's a cool horse. Miss Derrick with blinkers off.
Exactly.
May get her to relax a little bit better.
You could make a case for a lot of these.
There's a lot of horses in here that have some talent, and there's no standout. But I went 8, 11, and 3 in the Ballerina. On to the Premier's Championship. Mile and 3/8 will be the distance. We've got to feel the 9 signed on. I went to the 1 Commander. I'm going to try him to win it. He did have to pack $125 last time. It was a return to Hastings after campaigning so successfully in Edmonton. I think he'll be better second time out at this track, and I'm going to try him to win it. I put Wilo Cat in for second. This horse relished the change to Amadeo Perez and the distance. I think a mile and 3/8 will suit Wilo Cat well, and I put the 9-horse Brass and Gold. It was kind of a troubled third. I went with all the horses that ran in the Randall. That was a good time, 147 and change. Almost a second faster than the title contender. Well, not a second faster, but 3/5 faster than title contender around the Derby. But I think this race will be run a little bit differently, and the interior fractions will be a little different than what they were for title contenders. So I went 1, 6, and 9. I went with all the older horses coming out of the SW Randall Plate, and I went Commander on top.
I agree with you. I went with older horses too. This is a race where you can make a case for a lot of horses. I ended up very similar to you, though. I do think Commander's second starter, I thought he was a little too close to Shrug last time, and if he just relaxes and runs his race, I think in his second start at Hastings, he's kind of the guy you have to knock off. I put him on top. I put Senior Rojo coming off his second win in the Speed to Spare in Alberta. He's been training very good. He looks really good. I like the way he's coming into the race, and he's another one that can get the distance, can go a mile and 3/8. He's won going a mile and 3/8 3 times out of 5 starts in his career, so I like that stat. And of course, Wilo Cat, owned by our good friend of the show, Wayne Oliver, and Cowboys and Indian Stables. A horse. Surprising last time was his first stakes win. This is a horse that feels like he should have won more stakes because he always seems to be right there. He's going really good right now. He's got a nice style for this kind of race. I think the distance isn't going to be a big deal for him. And I got 1, 5, and 6 in the Premiers. On to the 8th. Fillies and Mares, claiming 4,000. Non-winners of the year. I've gone to the 2-horse Forever Me. I talked a lot. I mentioned earlier about Melanie Walters, the year she's having, and I've picked a lot of her horses. That's another one. Melanie and Rosie might be really hating me after this weekend. I could be the anchor for them. But jumped up and tried an $8,000 race last time against Undo It, Lady Bourne. That wasn't for her. She comes back into a nice condition because she is a non-4. Fits in the non-winners of the year category. Leading rider Amadeo Perez sticks with. I like Forever Me on top. The second spot, I put the 10, Victoria's Spirit. Another one that figures to be in the mix here. Amadeo does take off to ride Forever Me, but she gets Enrique Gonzalez, who's going great guns right now, and just got beat a half by Random Heising and Equal last time. And the third spot, I put Century Union, a mare that has been heavily backed and favored in her races, and one of these times she's going to show her old form and get up there and cause a stir in one of these races, because she is better than these horses. She's just not running like it right now. I went 2, 10, and 5.
Yeah, I agree. I got the same 3 horses, but I went to the 5-horse Century Union on top. I think this filly will get a very good trip, sitting just in the, because I think the 4 will clear. The 4-horse, A Girl's Gotta Live, will clear the inside horses. The 5 gets to sit a good 2-path trip, and I think that's where she's run her best races. When a horse or filly gets into her comfort zone, and that's when they tend to run their best races, and I think she'll get her perfect pace scenario, and I like Century Union to run a lot better race, cutting back to 6.5 furlongs. I agree with the 2-horse Forever Me. She hasn't done anything wrong this year. She's been a gem of consistency. And the 10-horse Victorious Spirit. She's as good as anything else in here, and she's also been running big races, and she can overcome the 10-hole. She could be right there as well. So I went 5, 2, and 10 in the 2013 Hastings finale. Up next on screen will be a quick look at our selections, a quick recap of our selections for the Monday program. Back in race number 1, I went to the 1, Super Steve, 1, 3, and 2. Race number 2, the 7, Our Last Call, over the 1 and 3. Race number 3, number 1, Ole's Miss, and the old Miss Exactor with the 4, Bluegrass Miss. I'm going to go 1, 4, and 5. In the 4th race, number 4, Off the Top, 4, 8, 3. Race number 5, the 8, Step Up, over the 9 and 11. Race number 6, the Ballerina. I went to the 8, Madeira Park, over the 11, Wonder Woman, and the 3, Saturday Night Ride. In the 7th race, the BC Premiers, went to the 1, Commander, over the 6, Wildcat, and the 9, Brass and Gold. And in the 8th and final, I went to the 5, Century Union, over the 2 and 10.
And on to my picks. There we go. The first race, I went to the 3, Say Fabulous, over the 1 and the 2. In the 2nd, number 7, Our Last Call, over the 1 and the 4. In the 3rd, number 1, Ole's Miss, over the 4 and the 5. In the 4th, I went to the 9, Never a Better Cause, over the 3 and the 8. In the 5th, I went to the 8, Step Up, over the 9 and the 10. In the 6th, I went to the 8 again, Madeira Park, over the 10 and the 3. In the 7th, I went with the old champion, number 1, Commander, over the 5 and the 6. And the nightcap, the last race of the year, I went to the 2, Forever Me, over the 10 and the 5.
All right, thanks everyone for tuning in to the final edition of, for Hastings Racecourse anyway, of the Handicappers Corner. We will, Drew and I will be back for Breeders' Cup weekend. We will be doing a Breeders' Cup show for the Friday and Saturday races.
Which should be up to Thursday, I would guess. We'll do it on Thursday.
We'll probably tape it on Thursday and hopefully help you out with your selections. Hopefully you've enjoyed the broadcasts throughout the year. We enjoy any, please do feel free to send any emails, anything we can improve. We'd like to hear from you.
I'm sure there's plenty of places we could improve.
I'm sure there are plenty.
Mostly our picks.
But yes, thanks everyone for tuning in to Handicappers Corner. Don't forget, all winter long, as Drew mentioned, we have handicapping contests
here at the Derby every Saturday, starting roughly about noon.
Noon on October 19th. That'll be the first one. We'll be rolling right through the winter. I know they've been very popular. A lot of race trackers show up here throughout the winter and watch our horses running at Golden Gate or at Santa Anita or at Turf Paradise. And there's a lot of interest here. So
good meeting point for everybody.
It is a good little central location for a lot of people. So come on out to the Derby Bar and Grill throughout the winter. It's open 7 days a week, and you can watch your favorite simulcast track there.
Thank you to Mike, our anchor of the show, for coming out here and doing this all year long.
Okay, thank you, Drew, for he's your host throughout the winter. He'll be the
That's right. You have the reins over to me now.
He'll be your bartender throughout
Everybody
the winter.
is very popular.
Your meter D. But thanks everyone for tuning into Handicappers Corner. Hopefully we've enlightened you with some good information throughout the year. On behalf of Drew, once again, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on Breeders' Cup Day or Breeders' Cup Week for our Breeders' Cup selection. Thanks everyone for tuning in to Handicappers Corner from the Derby Bar and Grill.
I got the horse right here.